Yes, people, you're welcome to the #1 Afro-Urban radio station. You're locked in on a one-on-one. And as you know, what we do, we tend to bring the legends. Waiting Day Radio is about the community. It's about the black community. It's about the African community. It's about the Caribbean community. And don't forget, for us to come as a people, we've made legends. And today, we have a special guest in our midst. And none other. Hold up, before I'm going to introduce him, I want to tell you a lot about this gentleman. So basically, he's an ex-professional player, football player, an ex-Premiership player, an ex-Super Eagles player. There's a man that I've got a lot of respect for, but you know what? I won't say too much. So my name is Izzy, and I've got my co-host here. This is Rolly on the go. Come on, right, people, let's do this. Right, our special guest today is none other than the gentleman all the way from Nigeria, all the way from England, Sam Sodje. Right.
Welcome, bro. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
So, thanks for honoring that invitation, bro. It's a pleasure.
So much energy, bro. So much energy going on in the studio.
That's what we do, man. It's all about waiting day. If you know the waiting day, let's do this. So, bro, tell us more about growing up. Who's Sam? Who's Sam Sodje? Tell us.
As you know, I'm from a footballing family. I was born in Greenwich, in London, and went back to Nigeria when I was like 4 years old. So I grew up in Nigeria. I stayed in Warri, so I'm a proper Warri boy. Proper Warri, you know. So, my whole family grew up in Scotland. So I'm based here, came back to London. I played football, but I played all my career back in Nigeria. You know, all through the youth system. Went on to play for the 20s, and I came back to the UK. So really, it's not so much. There's a lot about me, but I'll start.
Football was all I did. I loved it, and I've got a big family. Played to the highest level that I could do. So proud, just being a footballer, ex-footballer.
No, once a player, always a player, they say.
Yeah.
Nice. Good to know. So, bro, tell us, how did you develop your interest in football? Is it just tell us what gave you that passion, that desire?
I'm from a home where there's loads of sport people, loads of footballers. My older brother, you might know him, if Sodje,
Yes.
But he wasn't the first. My older brother is Bright, who used to play rugby.
Okay.
Yeah, Bright. So Bright was the first. You know, he played English rugby, so the sport was in the family. Funny enough, my dad used to be the turn of the field when he was Kokori, like the village. So he was a good footballer. Yeah, I mean, he was a good footballer. I heard my mom was a good sprinter. So it was just in the family. So I didn't really had the interest. It was in me. You know, just growing up in the family was football. I can remember since I was born. So it just went on. The talent was different because once you grow up in Warri, you have to be tough, and then the ability becomes. They go help you shine your ability in Warri. So. So that's how it started. Yes. So that's how it started.
Oh, interesting. So I was gonna say, so going by what you just told us, definitely you come from a sporting line from your dad, your mom, so it's in the genes. But what I was gonna say, I know with some Nigerian family or parents growing up, they always have that thing about I want you to be a doctor, I want you to be a lawyer, I want you to be, you know, growing up as in a typical Nigerian household. So how did you guys? Okay, now we're gonna talk about you. I know you've mentioned your two older brothers before you, so now let's talk about you. So how was it telling your dad that listen, I want to go pro? Did you get that support from him, or was it something that because your older brothers were already already playing pro, he just gave you the support? How was it? Tell us.
No. Like every other African family, you need education. We're 10 of us. We're 11 from the same parents.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah, man.
You just lay out one-on-one.
There was no TV. They were always in the bed.
Right.
So we're lovers. We're 10 of us. So normally, once you finish your second year school, you come back to London. But education was key. Education was, you had to be educated with a degree. So having loads of brothers, even though they played the game, they had to go to school. They had to be educated. So that wasn't a question. You have to go to school, but at the same time, the kind of ability, I'm not trying to be big time, but the kind of ability that I had to play. There was no way I was not going to play, because it was more than ability. It was more of the desire. It was too much for me to say I don't want to play. So yeah, I did my school. Had to do some running from home to be able to play the game. What I mean? Bad boy. I had to stay in the streets with my boys. When you come from a decent home, I would call them rich at that time. It's hard to go into sport and say you want to play football when all your mates are lawyers and trying to be a doctor. So it was difficult, but at the same time, to be able to play the game, you have to go to the street. You have to be like everyone else, So I had to do that. I had to run away from home. Not that I'm saying anyone should do it, but that's what I did. I had to go away and join the lads, and that's how I started. But my mom and dad knew that I had something special. So when I started making it big, the support was there.
So can I ask a question? You see, how would you advise the present day child to combine football and education like you did?
Yeah, it's very important. It's very important. I will only try and explain something to them. Every day you walk on the pitch might be your last day. So how scary it is, every day might be your last day. You might not even play tomorrow. You might not play tomorrow. So we've had people go on the pitch, got injured, and or die. So we were lucky enough. But when you have so much good role models to look up to, you have to combine education or combine. It doesn't have to be a degree. It doesn't have. You don't have to go and get a doctorate degree or a lawyer degree. Yeah. As long as you've got something to fall back to, you might be carpentry, you might be something, some sort of, it might be a salesman, it might be, a little business that if it ends tomorrow, I should be okay.
Yeah.
So that's the advice I'll give little kids. And my story is something that I love telling to the young players coming through, because it wasn't possible, but I made it possible.
Nice one.
Great stuff. Okay. Can I just find out, how did that name Super Sam come about? I've been curious. It's not
a self-claimed name. It's not a self. If you watch me play, I'm 6'1", 6'1". But I could jump like ridiculously high, too high sometimes. So they always call me Superman. But I had a friend who used to drive me around. His name is Drew Uyi. You might have heard of him. His name is Drew. He's based in London. And he used to drive me to training, drive me to games. So he saw the way I played. He saw the way I jumped. Believe me, I didn't know how I did it. I just jumped so high. So they used to call me Superman. Like he then gave me the name Super Sam, and that's how it came about. And it wasn't me calling myself. It was fans. They would believe you if you say I'm not Superman. They believe I'm Superman.
It's the ability.
It's very good. It's very good.
Definitely. That's good to know. So for our listeners out there, in case you just joined us, we're on 101 on your #1 Afro-urban radio station. And we have a special guest today, none other than the Super Sam.
Sodje. Give it up.
I'm loving this.
Bro, please talk us through the clubs you played for, coming up the ranks in football. Just let our listeners, know where you touched and, how you made this happen.
Lots of clubs, lots of clubs. I started from Nigeria.
Okay.
And I came over. So I came over. I was meant to sign for a club called Huddersfield.
Oh yeah.
A football club called Huddersfield, and I went there, passed the trials, and Steve Bruce was the manager at the time. So I was meant to sign for them, but then he got sacked. Then I had to start all over again. So that's why I say my story is incredible. So I had to leave in a championship club, and I had to start all over again from like a non-league. I went all the way to Stevenage, a club called Stevenage, and I started from there. But I had a good season. I had some couple of Premiership club wanted to sign me at the time, but then they got a new manager, and the guy didn't like me, so I had to drop from Stevenage, which is the conference side, drop to a non-league, like a non-league, so like Margate, Margate, Kent, Kent. So I came to Margate, played Margate for 6 months, and that was where the breakthrough came through, where I played against Martin Allen, who used to manage Brentford, and that's how I was signed by Brentford. And Brentford was my first professional club. So and that was in the League One. So I had a good season. I got play of the season for the league in London. So it was impressive 2 years, and that's how I went straight to the Premier League. So played at Reading for the Premier League. Had to go to West Brom. Then I went to Charlton, Watford, Portsmouth, not counting. I had a loose spell at Greece. Couple of clubs, man. Leeds United.
Wow, super stuff.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah, it's good.
See that
Very
you
good.
flying all over.
I know.
Yeah, man.
That name, whoever gave you that name, he definitely had a crystal ball to see what.
Firm. I
really
can see
there,
that.
like firm. Kudos to you. Kudos to you.
Thank you.
Right. So obviously, being born in Greenwich, moving back to Nigeria, and coming back again to England. So when you went pro, how did you go about making that choice to play for Nigeria? Because especially now, if we look at most of our professional players now, that sort of Nigerian heritage, a lot of them, maybe 60-40, still want to play for England. The likes of Abraham and a few of them. I know I played for Nigeria. So how was it? Because I tend to wonder. You're as a professional, you're faced with this choice: do I play for motherland or do I play for country of birth? How were you able to make this transition to go back home to say, listen, I want to wear green and represent my country? Talk us through, please.
No, because I grew up in Nigeria. So my heroes, I didn't know who Paul Ince, for example, was. I didn't know who Gary Lineker was, because I was in Nigeria. I knew the Amunike's, the Amokachi. So those were my heroes. So I'm different from them. I'm different from the players at the moment. Even though I was born here, I grew up in Nigeria. So my heroes were this guy, the Odysseus, the Amokachi. Those were my heroes. So I had a chance to play for England when I was playing for Brentford. I was having a good season. If I wanted to play for England because I was born here, but there was no doubt. I didn't even think about it because I was Nigerian, proper worry boy. So it wasn't like me thinking about even trying to play for England at all. I didn't even think about it. But when you talk about the players now, I understand where they're coming from. I played for Nigeria. I played for the Super Eagles for some time. And because we don't have this whole security, this whole insurance thing going on for the national team, you can understand why these players will be scared to play for Nigeria. So, and these players you're talking about, some of them have never been to Nigeria before. I'm talking from experience. I've got a little nephew who plays for Man City now, Ty Sodje, who's at Man City, who's doing really well. Yeah, he's a half white, half Nigerian. He's never been to Nigeria before. So I'm going to convince him to play for Nigeria. But if he plays for England, you cannot blame him because all he knows is English. So I don't blame them. But I was different. I was more of a typical Niger. I had to wear the green, white, green.
Too much starch. Too
much apple.
So for our listeners out there, if you know you got your kids that are going up the rank, please do advise them. Niger, still, we can always go back and make it. That's why Waiting Day Radio, that's what we're about. We're about community. We're about giving our people the voice. Yes, we're streaming all the way from London to the world, but it's all about our community. So
I agree.
I'm just going to go on a short break now. And don't change the dial and still sit with us. It's your number one Afro-urban radio station.
With Super Sam Sodje.
Pull up.